Hello everyone, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. In this video, we will learn a brief introduction to set theory. And yeah, of course, set theory is very close to us, but the first question is why we should learn about set. And this is the motivation. One of the benefits of mathematics comes from the ability to express a lot of information in a very few symbols. For example, when we want to express the integer 1, 2, 3, minus 1, minus 2, blah, 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 then we only have to see this symbol, right? This is the set of all integer. Then it's much easier, much more compact compared to if we will have to list everything. That's it. So why we need to learn about this? Yeah, because again, it's not only the general mathematics, set also the same. And why is it important? Because it is very convenient to express a large amount of information. What's the meaning? For example, this one, right? This has a lot of information, but it's very compact. We only need one symbol, then everyone knows that, oh, this is the set of integer. And of course, the set theory also gives us language we will find convenient which to do mathematics. For example, when we want to see the whole solution, or if we have the linear system, right, linear equation system, then it is much easier if we know about set. And what is a set? This is the formal definition as it's simply a collection of objects, and the most important part is we should be very careful. We have to make sure that it is easy to distinguish which one is the belong to the collection or which one is not. That's why this is the most important part. So cannot be subjective. For example, like the one that maybe when you go to university, student union. Student union, there are so many students there, and maybe some of them are handsome and gorgeous, right? But some of them are not. But you cannot say that the collection of handsome students. Why? Because handsome is subjective. It's depend on who see the guy, is he handsome or not. But compared to maybe some collection of tall students, that also the same, right? We cannot see the tall one, who is the tall one, who is not, who is short enough, we don't know. Because for example, when we have a student who has maybe 165 centimeter, and if you are maybe 150 or lower, you will say that he is tall, okay? But if you are maybe 100 on 90 centimeter or more, maybe you will say that it's not tall. That's why it is subjective. But compare maybe the requirements. Maybe we have the collection. If you are inside, then maybe the student union with maybe all students who has height more than 165. That's much easier to distinguish which one at higher or lower, right? That's why we have to make sure that requirements is not subjective, it should be objective. So we have to be careful to see the requirement for a set. And how to write a set? First, we can list all elements. For example, if we have this S, the set contains 1, 2, and 3. It has 3 elements. And there is a special symbol, this symbol. Usually we use this symbol to express that this element is belong to a set. And usually, for example, like 1 in S. That means 1 is an element of S. So compared to this sentence, this one is much more compact. That's why we need to learn a set. See this one? So we have already a tool to express a lot of information in a very few symbols, and we will learn more later. Another example, for example, we have this P. P is a set, this set, right? And is it in P? Of course. Why? Because we can find this, right? So we have 6 is in P. How about 5? We don't have 5. We have -5, but we know that -5 is not equal to 5. That's why, yeah, we have 5 is not in P. So usually we use this symbol to express not in a set. Another example, if we want to form the set of President of Indonesia up to now, of course, we don't know the future, especially 2024. And this will be the set P, this Soekarno, Soeharto up to Joko Widodo. And it is common if there are so many objects inside the set, then we use 3 dots here. So 3 dots means, yeah, there are some more elements which we have not listed, because, yeah, again, yeah, to save time and space, because this one should be clear enough for Indonesian, right? When you say Soekarno, Soeharto up to Joko Widodo, then you will know, oh, the set of President of Indonesia. So it should be clear enough what's the whole idea. Another example, if we have this set, and yeah, again, yeah, when you see the definition of a set, it is a collection. So collection can be contain a collection, another collection. For example, if we have this 1, 5, and then this set, and then 3, of course we have 4 elements. This is the first element, second element, third element. So the whole set is third element, and then the fourth one. So we have 1, 5, 3, and then this set 4 and 6 in S. And of course 4 is not in SY, because if you compare here, then 4 is not equal to one of them. Okay, even though, yeah, we know that 4 in 4 and 6, but this one is in S. So again, we only see every list here, so we don't see what's inside the object. And if you feel confused, then you can think sets as a boxes with object inside. For example, like when we have 1, 5, and then 3, and then 4 and 6, and we know that, yeah, 4 is not equal to this one, right? So this hopefully will help you to understand better. Then how to name a set, and usually we use the capitalized Roman letters to give names to sets, and some sets are used so often that they are represented by special symbols. And what is the example? For example, like this, we have n. N is the set of natural number. It starts from 1, 2, 3, and so on. Then Z. Z comes from the word Zahlen, from German words. And yeah, you have the negative parts and the positive one. So we have minus blah 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 up to -1, then 0, 1, 2, 3, and blah 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 blah. That's our Z. And again, the dots here, these dots, this dot, these dots represent the unwritten elements. Another way to write a set, sometimes we also can use some rules. For example, the set of even integer, then we can write this one should be 2z, right? Sorry. So 2z is equal to this. And this set 2z also could be written in these 3 ways. So first we can see 2 times x, where x is an integer. Then we will get the same set like this, exactly the same. Another one, you also can say x is an even integer, that's also the same. So every integer such that the integer is even, so we will get the same collection, right? We have the same set. Or if not, then we also can say every integer where it has the form 2 times another integer, whatever the integer, we don't know, that exists another integer such that 2 times something. So we have for sum here means there exists an integer y such that x is 2 times y, and we will get the same set. So there are many different ways to represent the same set. Okay, it's not single way. And another thing is, if we go further, then we have this Q set contains A over B, where both of them, A and B, are integers, where we know that we have a fraction, then the denominator cannot be 0. Usually we represent it as Q, this Q. And we have no problem with the repetition, because as we know, we have half is equal to 2 over 4 equal to 3 over 6 and so on. That's the same number, right, in rational number. And we don't care about the repetition. That's why we also have this one should be okay for us. And usually when we have a fraction, we will write it where A and B have no common factor larger than 1. For example, like this one, we have half and then 2 over 4. We prefer to use half because this one is the simplest one compared to this one. Why? Because we have the common factor here 2, right? Because 2 can be divided by 2, and then 4 also can be divided by 2. That's why we prefer this one. And another set is R. So this is the set of real numbers. What is real number? When it has a decimal expansion. For example, like integer, of course, integer has decimal expansion. Because, for example, like 3, we can write it as 3,0. And then a fraction also can, because we can divide lah. When we were in maybe elementary school, we learn about gugung sunsun, right? We can divide a number with another number. And rational number, of course, it has a decimal expansion. So this is of course a real number also. And pi is a real number, and pi is not equal to 3.14, right? Because pi is another number. That's only the approximation, because it is close enough. That's why when we are in the elementary school or maybe junior high school, usually you only write pi as 3.14, but actually it's not there. It is not a rational number. Then 3, another thing. And moreover, this one, square root 2, is a real number, but we also can prove that it is not a rational number. The reason is, when we have a square root of 2, if we can write it as a rational number, maybe A over B, right? Then the easiest way, like this. So we make it the common factor is not larger than 1, right? But if we have this, then we have square root 2 times B is equal to A. That means what? 2B squared is equal to A squared. Because 2 is a prime number, then we have A is divisible by 2. And we can do again, then we can conclude that B also divisible by 2, and so on. Then we have a contradiction. That's why we know that square root of 2, or maybe in general, square root of P, where P is a prime number, is not in Q. And another set that is very common is C, is the set of complex numbers. So we have I here. What is I? I is imaginary number. The if we square it, it will give you -1. So is 4 is a complex numbers? Of course. Why? Because we can take this b is equal to 0, then a is 4, right? So we can see directly then every real number is a complex number. And this is the diagram. So every natural number is integer, then every integer also a rational number. Every rational number is a real number, and every complex number, a real number is complex number. So we have the natural number also a real number. So we have this diagram. And another important set is the empty set. So empty set is the set with no element. So we have nothing inside. So the meaning nothing here is, yeah, it only has no elements, but it plays a lot of important roles in many cases. That's why we also say that this is the set with nothing in it, but it is not nothing. Okay, this is something, still something, because there are many cases that we need empty set. For example, if we have this, right, we have S. S is the set contains empty set. So S is not empty. Why? Because it has one element. What is the elements? Empty set. So please don't be confused with this one. If you, again, yeah, if you feel confused with this kind of definition, then you can think it as a box. So you see, this is the S. The set contains empty box. So the set is not empty, of course. Okay, so it should be clear. And we also can write this one with this symbol. And another thing, when you have a collection, then you should think about the sub collection. For example, like you have the student union, the whole UGM student union. You have a lot of faculty, student from a lot of faculty. Then usually, yeah, every faculty also has the student union. So we have the sub collection, and this kind of stuff, yeah, we call it subset. So what is the motivation? Yeah, because yeah, a lot of things in our life, yeah, we don't focus on all elements of a set, but the sub collections. For example, if we have the list of phone numbers, of course we will not save the whole phone numbers. We only focus on some, yeah, personal contacts, right? Because it is more manageable. And what is the subset? Yeah, it is a sub collection of the set. So can be itself, the sub collection. And when A is subset B, we use this notation. And if not, then again, same like when we say the elements, we have set like this. Okay, and of course, there are a couple different ways to think about the concept of A being a subset of B. There are, yeah, at least two ways. We will learn the two ways. The first option, we can think when A is a subset of B, then we can see that, oh, every element A is belong to B. That's the first way to think. For example, like this set A and B, 1, 5, 6, then 1, 5, 6, 7, 8. Of course, we can see that, yeah, A subset B. Why? Because 1 is here, then also here, 5 is here, then also here, 6, also here. So that's the first option. Another example, if we have this, we can see, yeah, it's not subset B. Why? Because we have this 9. 9 is here, but 9 is not in B, correct? So we don't have A subset B. So A is not subset B. Another thing, if A is the set of natural number, B is the set of integers. Yeah, of course, because, yeah, again, yeah, when we look at this diagram, it's clear. And hopefully that explains. And is C subset N? Of course no. Why? Because -1 is not in N. So that's the first option to see whether sub collection is really the sub collection of a set. Another option we can see by throwing out some elements of B to get A. For example, is A subset B? Yes. Why? Because we can throw out 7 and 8, right? Then we get 1, 5, 6. That's A. And this one, of course, no. Why? Because whatever we throw here, we will not get 9. So again, we have A is not a subset of B. And N and Z, yes, because we can throw all negative integers, and then we also throw 0, and we get natural numbers. And this one, of course, no. Why? Because we cannot get -1 or maybe -2, all negative numbers here by throwing elements from N. So hope that explains how to see whether set A and B is subset B or not. And when we write this, the symbol here, this one, right? This one has a meaning. So it's like when we have x less than or equal, this one also, A is a subset or A is equal to B. That's the same thing. And yeah, if A is not equal to S, then we call A is a proper subset of S. For example, this A is proper subset of B. Okay. And this symbol compared to this symbol are different. Okay. These two symbols are different. Why? Because when we have this, it is possible that they are the same set. So when A subset B, that means A this or A is equal to B. So this one is more special compared to this symbol. So please be careful with that. And some books may be written are written differently. So please be careful. And this symbol doesn't mean that it's not subset. Okay. So this and this are different. Okay. For example, like this, we have the set contains 1 and 2. Of course, it is subset this. And this one, if we use this symbol, this one also true. But if we reverse, for example, like 1, 2, 3, and then this one is not true. The true one is this. So please see the difference between these three symbols. And sometimes some students also feel confused the difference between being an element and being a subset. And you can think in this way. If you have the music library, then the elements is the song, right? The individual song. And the playlist is the collection, right? And we can say that the collection is the subset of your library. Or for example, like if you go to the library and there are so many cabinet there, and the cabinet is the subset and the books is the element. Yes, something like that. Another example, if we have the set of C, the elements of C here, complex number, and we have this is the subset of C. It's very clear. And another thing, if we have another example, if we have this T contains 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, we can see that 2 is an element of T. Should be clear. But of course, it is not a subset because it isn't a set of elements because this is one single element. Another example, when we have this U, then we have this set 6. This 6 is not element of U, but it is subset of U. Why? Because this is the element and this element is in here. Then that satisfies the condition of subset. Another example, if we have this x 6, 7, 8, 5, 8, 7 is an element or not. We see here, yeah, because 7 is not equal to the set contains 6. 7 also is not equal to this one. 7 also is not equal to this one. So we say that 7 is not a element. And is it a subset? Of course it's not, because it contains only a single element. It's not a set. So that's why we cannot say that it is a subset. So that's why, yeah, hopefully this example make it more clear the difference between elements and also subset. Okay, this one, we have this 7 and 8, right? This set is an element of x. Is not a subset of xy, because when we see here, there are 3 elements of x. This is the first one, this is the second one, this one the third one. That's why, yeah, this is equal to the second element here. That's why we say that this set is the element of x. And hopefully it is clear enough. And another example to make it more clear, we have this set contains 5 and the set of 5. And is it an element or subset of y? Yeah, of course it both. Why? Because we can see this is exactly the same like this. So this one is the element of y, and this one is also, we can see it as the subset y, because we have this number 5, right? Is element here and also element in y. So that's why we say that both. Okay, hopefully it is clear enough to understand the difference between an element and also the set, especially subsets. And again, yeah, we continue our discussion. Then we have the number of elements of a set. We call it the cardinality. For example, like this set S has 3 elements. We usually use this. It's like the symbol of absolute value is equal to 3. Yeah, to denote the S has cardinality of 3. And the cardinality of empty set, of course, it is 0. The cardinality of this, so this one has 1 element, right? So this one is equal to 1. And the set is finite. We call it finite if the cardinality is either 0 or natural number. If not, then we call it infinite. Okay. For example, if we have this T, we have how many elements? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have the cardinality is equal to 5. Another one, we have x in Z where the absolute value of x is less than 4. Then what is T? We can list. So the absolute value of x is less than 4. So we should start from -3. Why? Because, yeah, absolute value of -3 is equal to 3, right? So still less than 5. -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we have cardinality of T is 7. Okay. Another thing, we also have the power set. Power set is the set of all subset of S. That is the power set of S. We usually use this notation PS. So in other words, we have A is in PS when, yeah, A is subset of S. For example, like we have this S, we can list all subset of S. First, empty set. Of course, empty set is the subset of S. It is clear enough. Then this one, this one, this one should be clear enough also. Subset contains 2 elements here. This, and then, yeah, S itself. Because we know that S is subset of S. That's why we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 08. And is it a special number 8? 2 to the 3. And do you know why is it 3? And we will learn about it later. And why the empty set is one of the subset? Yeah, of course, because we have no elements, then it's clear that it is a subset of another set. So should be clear enough for that one. And we know that the number of element of S is n. If the number of element of S is n, then the number of element of power set or the number of subset of S is 2 to the n. Why? Because there are two choices for every element. For example, we have A1, A2, A3, and so on up to AN. Then it can be belong to that subset or not, right? So there are two choices, and so on up to this. And there are 6 times. That's why we have 2 to the n. That's the reason. And again, when there are no elements inside a subset, then we don't choose it, then we have the empty set. So should be clear enough. And for example, like this S 1, 2, 3, then we have the cardinality is this, and this one is exactly the same like this. And again, the reason why empty set is here, because we have when, if we use the option 1, then if X in here empty set, then X should be in S, right? That's the option 1 for the subset part. Then this one is always false. That's why the whole sentence is always true. That's another way to see why empty set is a subset of every set. Okay, another example, when we have this, how many elements here? Yeah, of course we have 2. That's why we have 2 to the 2. Then we have 4 subsets. And this one, of course, we have this. All of them are subsets of Z. That's why we have all of them are the elements of the power set of Z. Okay, then we go to some operation of sets. First, we have the union. So union means we can put all elements of the first set and the second set together become one. So S union T means every elements of S, or we make the union, right? Union with T. So X is in S or X is in T. If we draw the Venn diagram, then we will get this one. And the intersection means this one wrong. This one should be only this part. So this part should be S intersect T. So should be only this one. This one is not. This one is not. So we have S intersect T, S cap T. If X is in S and X in T. So contains in both set. For example, like this, we have this A, this B. We have 1, 6, 17, 35, 1, 5, 11, 17. Then put here, put 6 here, put 17, then 35. Then 1 already here, then 5, put here, and 17 already inside. So we have A union B is this set, then A intersect B. So we see only this, right? 1 and then 17, right? 17. So 1 and 17. That's why we have A intersect B is this set. Now the example, if we have the cardinality of P is 7, cardinality Q is 9, then the cardinality here, P intersect Q is 5. Then we can count the cardinality of the question is we will find this, right? So the easiest way to find P, Q, and another thing is we list 1 to 7, then Q is this, Then we can take this 1 to 5 inside, then 1 to 5 inside, then another one is not here, it's not in P. So this is the example. A set. So we have this P is the cardinality is 7, then this one the cardinality of Q is 9, right? So we share 5 elements both in P and Q, and then yeah, we just letting in some elements which are not belong to both. Okay, this is the example. And we also have the difference, like a number, we have the difference. And what is the meaning of the difference of two sets? And yeah, we collect all elements in T, but it's not in S. For example, if we have this S, this T, so 6 in T, so we throw it out. And then 7 is also in T, so we also throw it out. And then we have S minus T is this. And how about T minus S? Yeah, the same thing. We throw, and then we only have this one. And we can see here the final result. T minus S and S minus T are different. Okay, so it is not commutative. And please note that we always have this, right? We can show every element of S intersect T. That's why T minus S is equal to T minus S intersect T. Should be clear enough. For example, like when we have two sets here, and we assume the cardinality is this, and we can see that the cardinality of A minus B is A minus B, right? So 12 minus 3 should be 9. Okay, it is 9. And this one, 7 minus 3 is 4. So B minus A, oh, this one, there is a typo. This one should be 4, right? So we have 4 there. Another example, when we have this, the cardinality of A is equal to 12. The cardinality of the union is equal to 17. If the cardinality of the intersection is 3, then we can find the cardinality of B. How? Because this one is the union, then 17 minus cardinality of A. But the problem is we also have to add the cardinality of A intersect B. That's why 17 minus 12 is 5 plus 3, 8. So this one is easier to explain in this Venn diagram. So the whole thing, we have 17. Then A itself is 12. A intersect B is 3. So 3. So this one, this part only, we have 9, right? That's why how to find this. So the whole 17 minus the whole here. But this one also disappear. That's why we should add this 3 again. That's why we have this one 8. And we also can calculate the number of elements of A minus B. So this one is A, 12 minus 3. This one comes from 12 minus 3. And this one comes from, this is B. This is my B. So this one comes from 8 minus 3. Okay, so we have 5. Okay. And then we also have the universal set. So the set of everything here. And the complement is universal set minus S. And we call this the complement of S. For example, like we have the universal set is this Z, then this is our P. Then what is the complement? Then everything here, which is not in here, right? So we have 1, 4, 6, and etc. That's the complement of a set. And I think that's all for this video, because we only review some introduction to set theory, so not deep enough, but hopefully that will remind you a lot of materials related to set theory. Okay, thank you very much. See you in the next video. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.